Добрый день, коллеги.
Good afternoon, dear colleagues. My name is Roman Ovchinnikov. I'm head of execution department at Security Vision. Well, we're going to talk a bit about MSSP, but firstly, I'd like to share my impression of the previous presentation. I'm not trying to say anything, but I just understood once again how our information security market is so small, considering that the market was valuated as 98 or 100 billion rubles. Then we have an IT project which is comparable in size. We just need to understand how high we can grow.
Я же сегодня хотел с вами
Today, I would like to talk about MSSP,
коснуться этого, в частности,
to touch upon this subject, and in particular on some subtle points about incident management in the MSSP model. Let's start with the simple. So what is MSSP? MSSP is a provider of services in the area of information security. So in the beginning, we had MSP providers who were more about providing IT services. Then it evolved. In addition to IT, information security came to be needed. And so MSSP emerged as a provider of services in information security. An MSS provider is a company that spends 100% of their efforts regarding information security. It's their business. It's their core business. It generates their revenues. This is where all the expertise and everything else focuses. As to the MSP services, there are quite a lot of them, something to deal with the provision of security of the infrastructure, awareness, protectedness, and one of the most asked for services, what is regarding the commercial SOC and everything to do with it, monitoring, investigations, incident response. So today, I'm not going to talk about the MSSP market as it is, but about a small part related to commercial SOCs. Why do we need MSSPs? As I said, they concentrate the expertise. This expertise can be scaled for customers. For the customers, a quick start, getting a budget, getting a quality product, and no need to build everything within their organizations, so they can pass something on to the partners. Why did I want to talk about this now? Because historically, the MSSP market was not so large in Russia compared to the worldwide market. In the world, the MSSP market has been growing for quite a long time now. Whereas in this country, it didn't happen that way. But there were several drivers, catalyzers, that also pushed this trend. I think the first point was COVID, when everybody went home to work, when a lot of things were disrupted, logistics and other things, the companies had to change all this, and also they had to change the information security processes. That was the point where MSP started to grow exponentially. And the second point in time was at the end of February this year, where again we got information security problems. Everybody is aware of them. I'm not going to talk about them in detail, but that was another driver to push the MSSP market up in Russia. As I've already said, we're going to focus your attention on commercial SOC services. When we're talking about SOCs as a whole, we've been talking about them for a long time in different conferences. We've always been saying that SOCs need expertise, talent, routine tasks. So one of the solutions is automation. If we're talking a MSP provider, then it's all even doubly important there. So the level of MSSP providers in the commercial SOC to analyze all the incidents is just a pipeline. It's a conveyor belt. So for them, the it's even more important that they could organize their work efficiently, that they should assure a high quality of their decisions. They need to be protected from errors. And because they're providing this as a service, it's also very important for them to stay within their own SLA commitments that they have as part of their customer contracts. So for them, everything to do with the automation of their activities, and in particular, monitoring, investigation, response is especially important for them. We, as a vendor that deals with the automation of information security process management, we see that. So we see that the MSSP market is growing. On the other hand, we see their needs in automation. And so it's about some specific features about MSSP management regarding automation I would like to talk today. So the first thing, the first part is about the processing. When I say processing, I mean everything. Life cycle, regulations, waybook, everything. Playbooks, I brought it all together. So there are several differences here compared to a classic in-house SOC. Firstly, a commercial SOC and an MSSP provider SOC processes incidents that they get from different customers. So the most important task when they get some alert, some event, the main task for them is to understand which customer or tenant this event belongs to. Why is it so important? Because the MSSP may provide services in different ways, cloud services, hybrid services, in-house services. They may use all different automation tools and CM systems. Actually, quite often they use CMs for monitoring. These CM systems can be different. Even in the same commercial SOC, it is quite often that they have several CMs installed at the same time. And when customers are connected, customer CMs can be used. So you have diverse CMs, each of which has its own multi-tenancy mode. They have different words for that, terms for that, domain, customer, tenant, and so on. Everywhere, a way to determine the ownership of their load is their own. And it's very important for the MSP provider to identify the ownership correctly, because further on, all the processes that are going to be used should ensure the separation of data between customers. The second part, it's about the implementation of playbooks, life cycles, and things like that. If we're talking about the normal in-house SOC, then when we're drawing up an incident management process, when we draw up a response playbook, we proceed from the fact that we know very accurately our infrastructure and policies and other things, and we can use these details to improve the efficiency and effectiveness of our processes. The MSSP provider is not in the position of operating this data, because they're providing a service to a broad range of customers, so they need to have some standardization, unification. So everything that they use in their processes, playbooks, and automation mechanism should be categorized and generalized. What do I mean? Just a simple chain in some playbook. If we say that a category A event has happened, we need to perform a series of actions on some category B nodes and also send notifications to a group of persons of category C. So in the provider playbooks, it's exactly the way these things are explained. All these variables should dynamically go to specific playbooks and processes depending on the customer, the tenant that the service is being provided to. The next point, it's about
оказываем услугу,
the thing that because we're offering a service to someone, we need to keep them informed. We can't just wait until the end of the incident investigation and the reporting period. So we've done this and we're good guys. No,
постоянно в контакте
in the very life cycle of the incident, we have to be in constant touch with the customer.
регистрируюсь.
So there's a suspicion of an incident that we've logged. We need to inform the customer about that. We proceeded with the investigation and categorization. We need to keep the customer informed. We finished these operations. We confirmed that this was an incident. Then we also pass information. We issue some recommendations to the customer what they need to do to respond to this incident. Also, we inform them about that. So it's important that at every stage of the life cycle, you need to be in close collaboration and communication with your customer. The next point. It's about, again, when we're talking about an in-house SOC, you are inside this company, you have access to the entire infrastructure, to all the people, and so on. When we are talking about commercial SOC, we have several entry points as contact persons and don't have all the required access. So we need to build our process based on this understanding. What do I mean? Let me give you an example. A classic brute force attack. What usually do people in the penthouse, in the in-house SOC? Well, one of the first actions is to try to phone or get in touch with the person linked to this incident and check what they've been doing. In a commercial SOC, the operator does not have access to this employee and they have to act through a contact person. Or another incident with privileges, for instance, if in a classic SOC, the operator could look up in some service desk where there has been a ticket, an official ticket to raise the privileges for this employee. Specialists in the commercial SOC cannot have this information during the investigation. They need to get it additionally. And this all has to be taken account of when designing the processing process. Also, because many people work with MSSP providers following a model that everything is in the cloud, that's with the provider, then a lot of things related to the execution or certain actions are performed by the customer themselves manually, following the recommendations from the provider. So you need to include in your playbook that there are phases that we can't control directly, that can take an indefinite time, and where we are going to operate in some kind of vacuum. You need to keep constantly in touch with the customer. Why is it so important? Because as a minimum, when we're talking about these things, you need to take account of these things. You need to include the response time when you're outsourcing something to the MSSP. Also, customers are not always very fast to respond, and you get new tasks. So, for instance, if you don't see that there's no feedback with the customer as a result of your actions, they're not responding, you need to nudge them, keep nudging them, asking them, is everything clear? Do you need any additional help? Have you closed the incident, and so on. So it's also very important. The next point. Let me just call it. It's about interaction with the infrastructure and the employees. MSSP is a service for a broad range of customers. Some of them are critical infrastructure operator. Others need to have additional information about employees and sites. It's all part of certain playbooks on the interaction with FIDSAT and critical infrastructure control. I've already mentioned that customer interaction is a must. There are two important tools here. The first type of interaction goes through some portal or a personal account, the customer account.
внутри этой инфраструктуры можно взаимодействовать.
And another way is that you are within the infrastructure, and it's only from it you can interact with the systems. Here, you have to organize a certain customer account that will be accessible from the outside. That has all the information it needs, and also this portal might also have some capabilities to modernize the forms of providing information to the customer, because as you have seen, the presentation of information that we can is not needed by the customer. So you need to mask some data. The next point, we're talking an indefinite range of customers. Like we know that today there are 10 of them, in a month there can be 12. You have to take account of certain aspects of your customer. Maybe they're talking to you from different time zones, maybe don't speak your language. So when interacting via some portals or personal account pages, you need to take account of the aspects of them being able to understand you. So the interface, the UI, language, time zone, because not everybody lives in your time zone. And the final point is that if we have organized a portal like this, and perhaps we might push there the part that is responsible for incident response. And then you have a task of synchronizing the data about incidents between your main system and the one that you've made publicly available, and so on. The second format of interaction, and one of the most acknowledged ones, is via mail notification. What kind of subtleties can we run into here? The first thing, and for me it was a surprise, MSSP providers, for them, interaction via email may be the only channel of interaction with the customer. If they don't have a web portal, so I understand all the interaction about incidents is happening over email. So it looks like email is a face that the provider uses to talk to the customer. And here, a lot depends on the format of the letter, of the message. It's not enough that you've provided the information about what you found. You always also have to wrap it up in the attractive form. And here we have seen citation away, not just plain text, but different formats, RTF, HTML, and so on. Second, email is sometimes the only way of interaction between the customer and MSP provider. In those cases, you get tempted to manage the incident, like the MSSP info, ask for some info for the information about the incident. So we've seen that. We've taken, we find this information. Please review it yourselves and make a decision whether it's a feature or an incident. The customer wants to answer this question, and this should affect the life cycle of the incident in the automation tools of the MSSP provider. It looks like we've provided an answer in the email. This answer should be transformed in some understandable format in the automation tool. It should initiate the respective playbook and lead to the respective actions. The next thing, interaction control. It's more about human factor. Whenever we're talking about MSP, again, we have lots of customers, we should not notification with some information about one customer to another customer. We can't send information about customer A incident, mentioning URLs and domains, to customer B. And that should be obvious to the operator, and it should be expressed in the playbook in order not to allow that. And the last thing here is personalized patterns, templates. So everything to do with the customer. I'm running up. Let me speed up.
Соответственно, следующий момент.
So the next point, it's about SLAs. If it's an in-house SOC, you have a clear set of metrics that shows that your SOC is working correctly. In the MSSP case, you have a set of SLAs depending on the level of service for the customer, of the composition of services that we are providing them, and you have to bear it all in mind so that you shouldn't break some SLA as you are providing the service. And so that these SLAs should be complied with. Quite often, there's a question about the distribution of the overall inflow of alerts over the operators, because this is the finitely resource. Whenever we're talking about a situation where the in-house SOC uses the first two options, where there's a common queue and operators pick up calls from this queue, you can also load balance it and automate it. In MMSPs, quite often they use some additional automation tools, some magic formulae that use some logic to distribute the incidents across the agents depending on a set of attributes. And so it's very important for us so that it shouldn't get too difficult to become an obstacle. And finally, we can have dedicated teams to work with specific customers. And last thing regarding reporting. If we're talking about an in-house SOC, reporting means some statistics on the services that we are providing. Some monitoring, we may be interested in some distribution across incidents, the stages in attacks, SLA, processing time. But if we're talking about the MSSP reporting, quite often the first block here is about the execution of SLA for the service. We need to know how well we have complied with the SLA commitments, what was the response time, availability time, and if you need to work with this data, and you want to build a report that would be available in the same place, but the data come from different systems, and you need to use different systems to consolidate the data. Also, we need to have this report parameterized so that we could prepare this report, let's say, for customer A. I think I haven't forgotten anything from what I wanted to share. So if you have any questions, I'm prepared to take them. Well, if there are no questions, then thank you very much for your attention. You're welcome to our Security Vision booth, and we can give you a little bit more details on certain aspects. Good day.